invasive, and it was introduced here as a perennial. People had it in their gardens, and of course, as things do, it got loose. It has a very, very thick root system, and the root system will keep all other plants from growing. And it was about 10, 12 years ago, it was a big problem. But then somebody came up with some grasshopper or beetle or something. See, it had no enemies. So it was just taking over. It was just growing and growing and growing, and it had millions of seeds, and the seeds were very healthy and able to reproduce. So you'd get one plant, and we were told to immediately take off the flowers. Don't let it reproduce. And when I moved up to where we live, there were none. You know, once upon a time, I went, oh, I forgot to say hello, it's Nancy's day. So here it is again. Once upon a time, I had my 3 little children in the car, and I was out driving, and I saw this beautiful field of purple flowers. Oh, it was so lovely. Oh, look, the red ones are turning red now. You get very early trees turning their fall colors very, very early. But it's been fall all summer, so it's not a big deal. So I pulled into this beautiful patch of purple flowers. Beautiful patch. And I got out and I let the kids play in the flowers, or, just sit there, and they were little toddlers. And it was just the most beautiful place to sit. And it wasn't for a while after that I found out that was an invasive species that was taking over, and it was a hated plant. And I had a hard time hating it because it was so beautiful. Then I visited somebody who had a cottage on a lake, and they had purple loosestrife planted along the edge of the water. And I was shocked that they had planted it there. And she said, well, my mother wanted it here, and this is her cottage, and she was very adamant that she had to have this here, and so that's where it was. And it likes water, likes moist areas, and it takes over the other water-loving plants. Anyway, and then there was a field of it on the way to our house, and I heard that somebody had developed or imported a bug, and they had tested the bug on many, many things, and it didn't seem to be eating anything but purple loosestrife, and there were no species that ate it at the time. And so my poor friend, I'm going to be so late. I'm supposed to be right now. I'm supposed to be there. It's 10:02. I wish I could have found her number and changed the date. I couldn't find the number. What did I do with it? I even knelt down and prayed to find the number. I thought it was on the piano or on the top of the stereo. It wasn't there, but the piano tuner had come, and things could have been moved around, and I don't know where it went. Anyway, okay, so purple loosestrife. So when we moved out to so they released this bug, and the bug ate it. And so that field that was all purple, that was where they released them. I don't know how many they released. They didn't have permission to release them, but they did it anyway. And so this whole field of purple started to disappear. And the purple loosestrife is no longer in that field. They probably also tilled it. I think, it was a field of hay or something. Traffic to consider there. Did you know I drive with 2 hands, you see? This hand that's on the wheel, this hand holds the camera. So I'm quite capable of driving There's Purple Loosestrife again. So when we moved to our place, there were none. We had none. I couldn't believe we had any when they were such a plague other places within an hour from us. Half an hour, 20 minutes, 15. Anyway, and then I would see them. One would show up. And so I would dutifully remove the flowers. Or remove the seeds. Or pull out. You couldn't pull out the plant. The roots are just so strong. I did that for a while, but after 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is, we now have that plant in front of my teepee. I have a lot of it there, and it looks so beautiful. And I'm not so worried about it. I'm not removing it anymore because the bug is out there, and so I don't, those bugs will reproduce, and that'll be the end of that. Bye. I gotta show you something else.